Hello, you're welcome, and once again, I'm happy to have you here. My name is Timothy Bamishai, and I will continue to be your host and tutor. And as an introduction to your data analysis class, right, I quickly want to share a few thoughts and insights with you. Your job as an analyst goes beyond just putting charts together, goes beyond trying to create dashboards. It involves a lot of things, including collecting data, sometimes analyzing, cleaning those data. You have to also visualize some of them either in the form of a dashboard or in form of just random charts. And at the end of the day, you also have to create a report, right, where you actually explain or document those things that you found out during your entire process. Okay, so and there are multiple tools for all of this. You definitely have to start with tools like Microsoft Excel, and then you could use other tools like Power BI, tools like SQL, Python, and Tableau. So that being said, in today's class, because I really want to show you something and then practically let you get your hands on something. So in today's class, we'll be making use of Microsoft Excel. So this dashboard that you have on your screen was created using Microsoft Excel. And the beautiful thing about this is that we are connected directly to a database. And the database for this example is Google, right? In this particular class, we'll be using a Google server. So the idea here is that when data is collected from the field or from different departments, you do not have to have them downloaded, right? If you want to go ahead and download them, that's fine. But in this case, we will not be downloading any of the data sets. We would be pulling it directly from the server and then visualizing it in the spreadsheet. So that way, you get to see your entries in real time from your spreadsheet and then see what the chart looks like. So let's get down to our screen while I show you how to create something like this. So if you go through this form, you'll see that my total number of respondents at the moment is about 57. So if you actually go back to the back end, also you'll realize that I have 57 entries in the back end. And then you can see this other chart right here. Okay, so let me show you what it looks like on the back end. And you can see that I have 57 responses right here. But here is the question itself. Now for this question, I'm actually going to try and fill one of it and then go refresh my dashboard to see if it actually pulls the record out live from the database. So in this case, I want to just choose some outliners or outliers to, let's say PhD. I am a student and I have a desktop, right? I'm actually choosing values that are going to be outliers because, and in this case, let's say I spend most time on X and I spend 7+ hours on WhatsApp. Paid for an online course, let's say no. I'm choosing 9 mobile here. I spent 51,000. Oh no, cash. Amazon. No, and then I submit this. So if my record is accepted, my data is submitted, I'm going to go back to that spreadsheet and I'm going to refresh this data. So now I should have 58 if all goes well. Sometimes I need to make that call to the server about 2 or 3 times before it reflects in my spreadsheet. Now you see that it has reflected as 58 number of respondents, and all of these other charts also I have adjusted accordingly. Let's get down to seeing how we can create something like this. So first and foremost, you must learn how to create forms like this. I'm going to share with you a link to this, right? You must know how to create a form like this. I want to assume you know how to create a form like this. If you don't know how to create a form like this, no problem. I'm going to be teaching you in subsequent classes, right? Learn how to create a form like this. Then you want to come to responses, then come to view it in sheets. sometimes take a while to load. And what you want to do next is to select file, come to share, and then publish to web. Make sure you're publishing it to the web. Now, if you have not done this before, you want to select entire document and then change this to Microsoft Excel, right? I noticed that for some other formats, your data can be merged up, especially if you're exporting it as a CSV file. It can be messed up. So we're going to select Microsoft Excel from here and then copy this link. What we really need from here is this link. And I'm going to also be sharing this link with you in case you also want to practicalize what you have done here so far. So we're going to copy this link. And then if you're creating your form by yourself, you're going to click on publish. You're going to click on publish, but because I have published this one previously, that was what we're using in the other data sets, in the other dashboard. So I cannot publish it again, but I'm going to just copy that link and I'm going to close this. So now if I share the link with you, all you just need to do is to copy the link. Then you come to your spreadsheet, come to data, come to get data, or you select from web here, right? But because this is our first time, I'm going to show you from other sources and select from web. So now we're going to paste that link right here and click on OK. It's going to take a little time for it to connect to Google server and then populate the screen. And if you're familiar with Power Query, you should also be familiar with this interface right here. And I'm going to select this second one. You can see an example of my data. This is what I have in the survey, and I'm going to select transform data. So now the thing here is, this is Power Query interface. If you're familiar with it, you basically what we want to do is data cleaning and data transformation. But if you look through this, there's not much to do. So I'm just going to load it directly into my spreadsheet. I'm going to load it directly into my spreadsheet. So I'm going to come to Home tab, select Close and Load. And you can see it right here. So it is loaded, and we will try to now go ahead and use this for our analysis. So I'm going to select this table, go to table design, and then say summarize with pivot table. Select new worksheet from here and select OK. And so I can go ahead to start my analysis. I want to see my respondents by age group, and I'm going to click on this and drag it to the row section. Now in Power Query, whatever is value, whatever value you don't want to aggregate, you don't want to sum, you don't want to perform mathematical operation on, you put them in the row section right here. Now, if you want to aggregate them, count them, multiply them, divide them, subtract them, you want to put it in the value section, right? So this way, if I'm looking at it by age group, I can pull this and drop it in the value section. Now, if you look at this, I have 57, and that's because there is a blank entry in that form. In this particular column, there is a blank entry. So I'm going to not use that particular column, right? So I'm going to use timestamp. In the timestamp column, it's like there are no empty values. So it's all filled, and you can see now, because the one that is blank, I have it as 1, right? So it's now displaying 58, which is the correct one. So I'm going to just remove this. So now I have the correct value. For this, I can just go ahead and rename it and see number of respondents. Okay, so to do another one, to analyze another data like that, I'm going to just duplicate the pivot table by copying it and pasting it. And I want to look at my data by gender. So I'm going to remove this and pull in gender down here. I can see male is 38, female is 18. So to go further, I'm going to make a duplicate again and paste it. I want to look at my respondent by their educational qualification. So I'm going to pull education qualification, this right here, into the row section. And then I see bachelor's degree. 21 people have bachelor's degree. 12 people has a diploma. 19 has a master's degree. 3 had PhDs. Okay, so I can go further and then copy this again. Let me paste another one. And in this particular one, I want to look at it by their employment status. So what's their employment status? I have quite a number of people in the private sector, 15 in the public sector, and 2 are unemployed. So basically, this is one of the means by which you manipulate this. There are different other things you could do, but just trying to show you a few things. Okay, so let me make one more copy of this and drop it here. And I want to see what social media platform do you use the most. So what I'm doing is to click and drag into the row or the values section. So 9 people say they use Facebook the most. 38 people say it is WhatsApp they use the most. It looks like a lot of people like using WhatsApp, right? According to our analysis or what we're doing right now. Now, as you are trying to analyze this, you are also trying to see and pick at, is there anything popping out from this analysis? Is there anything that looks odd from what I'm seeing? Those are the things you want to be looking out for, and then you're documenting them as you go. So now that I've been able to create 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 charts, let's go ahead and visualize some of this data. So for the first one, I'm going to select that pivot table, come to pivot table analyze, and then I'm going to select pivot chart. Okay, so this is my chart. I prefer this chart. I'm selecting OK. Now, if you have a pivot chart like this, right click on any of these buttons and then hide all field buttons on charts. Select hide all field buttons on charts to remove that. Now, if your chart has only one color, remove this legend also. And for me to make it better, I'm going to just format this a little bit. Right click on that and say format data series. I want to basically reduce the gap width right here. And the reason is because I feel like the width between each of those bars was too much. And that makes the bars tiny. So this is a chart and I feel like it's good enough right now. Here is another one, number of respondents. You can plot a chart with this. You can go ahead and plot a chart with this. Select that, go to pivot table analyze, and then pivot chart. So you can use a pie chart, you can use a column chart, whatever kind of chart you feel like to use, go ahead and use them. Also, hide your field buttons, remove this. For me though, because it's just about 2 or 3 data, right, values or entries right here, I like to use a pie chart. So how do I convert these bar charts into a pie chart? I'm going to select the chart, go to design, and I'm going to select change chart type. Right here, I'm going to select my pivot on my pie chart, select this and select OK. So now I have pie charts. What about this? I want to do the same thing. Select the pivot table, go to pivot chart, and then find a good chart you want to use. I can use any of these, but let me use this bar this time and select OK. Remember to remove these buttons. Okay. So up next, you may want to, now for some data sets, it's probably better you sort them, right? You sort them in order. For example, I have this particular data right here, 19 to 25, 26 to 35, 35 to 40, 36 to 45, and so on. But I see less than 18 at the bottom. It's not, it's kind of scattered, right? You could have actually sorted this. Usually when you're sorting, you want to sort from highest to lowest, from lowest to highest, any of those, either ascending or descending. But for some data, you do not want to sort them. You just want to leave them the way they are. And the reason is this: the human brain already has a pattern, right? If I'm calling days of the week and I tell you Sunday, Monday, automatically in your head, without telling you the next item, you want to say Tuesday, right? But then if for whatever reason your data, you now want to sort it, right? And then you sort it, and then it's now looking like Sunday, Thursday, Tuesday, Saturday, and so on. It's scattered that way, and so your head, your brain do not know how to, process or visualize that data again. So you don't want to sort data like that. And I think it's almost applicable in this case, right? We see 18, less than 18. If you're less than 18, we're expecting above 18 next, right? So 19 to 20 or 19 to 30. After that, we're expecting 30 to 40, 50 to 60. So it's more or less in a sequence. So if you're going to sort anything like this, whatever has a predefined sequence, you don't want to sort it. Just leave it the way they are. So I'm just going to make sure that 18, less than 18 goes to the top. So I'm going to right click on that, and I'm going to select move, and then move to the beginning. So I can see now less than 18, 19 to 25, and so on. So it's now in a sequence. So I can see where the peak really is at the middle of the human life cycle, 35 to 45 or thereabouts. But for this case, now I see people's degree, educational qualification. You may not, you may want to sort this one, right? If you want, I think it's okay to sort it. But then if you don't want to sort it, okay, you don't want to sort it in ascending or descending order based on value, you may maybe probably just sort it based on the qualification. So after secondary school, you have your OND or your diploma. After that, you have your bachelor's degree. After that, you have your PhD, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to show you also how to do that kind of sorting. So so secondary school, let me use, in this case, I'm going to select that row, press my cut, and then paste it at the top. Cut, Control plus X, then paste, Control plus V. Okay, so after secondary school, I have my diploma. I'm going to cut that again and paste it right there before bachelor's degree. And so now it is sorted. Maybe I want to take this blank also to the top. And so you see I have blank, secondary school, diploma, bachelor's degree, master's degree, and so on and so forth. So because it's only one color also, I'm going to remove this legend. Format this also to make it bigger. I mean, to make each of the bars bigger. I like to use something around 85% right here. 84, 85, something around between 60 and let's say 90 or 100. Then we have this also, depending on what you want to do, use a pivot chart, select OK, remove the buttons, remove this, let's put it here, right click on this, and then format data series. Let me put this at 85 again. So we're good. And by social media handles, in this case, you really want to sort this one. I don't know Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, there's no sequence to that. So I'm going to sort it by value. I'm going to right click on this and then sort this data, let's say smallest to largest, right? So LinkedIn, X, Instagram, Facebook, and WhatsApp. So let's go ahead and plot our chart. And okay, remove this also. Let's format this again. And I am now, so now that I've been able to create 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 charts, I want to copy them and put them on my dashboard, right? We're now getting to how we position them to the dashboards. Okay, so I'm going to cut each of them, Control plus X. Just click on each chart and press Control plus X. Now you want to paste them here by pressing Control plus V to paste. And what you want to really do, we're not just pasting them randomly. You want to paste them by order of importance. Order of importance. Okay, so but just put that in mind that you're pasting them in order of importance. I will probably in our subsequent classes, I'm going to explain to you the reason or the idea behind that. So you're going to adjust this. I don't like having this title total here. Okay, maybe we'll leave it for this particular class. Right, so I'm going to call this respondents by age group. So you want to make sure that your title actually explains the chart. Your title explains your chart. Okay. So now if anybody's looking at this chart, he already knows what the chart is all about. So but then I think I need to format this chart. So what other formatting can we do? I have blue background here and a white background that it doesn't blend well. So let's see if we can blend it together. I'm selecting the chart now. Go to format, go to shape fill and see no fill. I actually like to use no fill. Then you look for those bars. If you look at this carefully, right? Okay, before we change the bars, while the chart itself is still selected, I'm going to come to text fill and say use white color. So all the text are now white. Now I'm going to look for the bars and then select any of them. Go to format, shape fill, and then give me this color. Okay, so now it's popping out a bit. But then if you look at this, it's still not looking cool enough. I see this white edge. I'm going to remove it. Go to format, go to shape outline and say no outline. So I can either leave my chart like this or do some other things. So let me show you some other things. I want to remove these grid lines, these lines right here. So I'm going to delete that and also delete this one to the edge. But I also still need those values, the values on the axis. So I'm going to come this way and then say data label. And now you can see 18 to less than 18 is 1, 19 to 35 is 1 or 5, and so on. So that's the way it is done. Okay, so now this is what my chart really looks like. If you want to increase the fonts for everything in this case, I'm just going to do it this way, but I don't think it's necessary. So I can bring in another chart again, go back to sheet 2, select this chart, cut it, come this way and paste it. Adjust it to fit into the screen, and I'm going to call this respondent by sex or by gender, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to change these and then say shape fill, no fill, shape outline, no outline. Text, give me a white color, right? But if you look at this, there's a little problem. My blue is blending with the background again. What do? I probably want to change the color also. So I'm going to double click on each of the pies. Double click on each of the pies. So I'm going to double click on that. Come to format, shape fill, and I want to use this color, for example. For this one, I'm going to double click on it, format, shape fill, pick the next color. And for the last one, double click on it, format, shape fill, and so I have all three colors here. And then you can come this way and then say data labels. Please select the old chart before you bring in your data label so you can label everything. But I don't just want this. I'm going to come this way, say more options, then label options. I'm going to say give me percentage and the value. For my separator right here, use a new line. So I can see 18 people is about 31%, 38 people is about 66%, 2 people is about 3%. So I can make this black for clarity. This particular one looks not so good. I'm going to make it black so it's clearer to the eye. All right, so let me pick one more chart. I'm going to cut it, come to this sheet and paste it on my dashboard. Resize it accordingly. Do my formatting all the same again. No fill, text color, let's use white. If you don't want the grid lines, again remove it. If you want it, keep it. So I'm going to look for those bars now. Make sure you select one and all of them is selected. Change the color. You want to maintain color as the rest of the other charts. So I'm using that one that looks like white. I want to remove this, add the legend in front of the labels in front of each chart, and I'm going to call this respondent by education, okay, by qualification. Okay, remove the lines also. So slowly and surely our dashboard is taking shape, and I do really want to believe that you're learning one or two things from what we're doing right now. I'm cutting this, pasting it again. So I'm going to reverse the order. I've been doing it all day. I'm going to change the bars first, right? Give it that color. Select my chart itself. No outline, shape fill, no fill. So it blends with the background. My text color is white. And in this case, for no reason, I'm going to just leave it and leave the grid lines, right? So you can see what it looks like. If you want to remove it, it is also fine. So in your own practice, you can go ahead and remove all of them. Respondent, by employment status. I'm cutting this also, which is going to be my last chart right here. Format it appropriately. Then go remove the background, remove the lines, change the text to white. Keeping the grid lines also. Respondent. Active social media handles. I really don't know what the title is, but just take this title or header the way I've written it anyways. So I think the last thing we want to really do is to add the KPIs, total number of respondents for this database or for this dashboard. So how do we find total number of respondents? I'm going to go back to my analysis. I will copy this, paste it down here, come this way and remove this. So number of respondents is 58. So all we just did right here is to count the total number of entries we have in the form. Count total number of entries we have in the form is going to be 58. So how do we pull that in? Since we are not visualizing it as a chart, how do we pull it in? So I'm going to go to insert, bring a text box in, please. Bring a text box in. And this is my text box. Why are we using a text box? Now we are using a text box because we want to refer or want to display what is inside a cell. We want to display what is inside a cell in our dashboard. And we cannot, as usual, do equal to value in the cell as we used to do in regular Excel. So we are going to be using a text box. So now when you draw your text box, come to your formula bar and type equal to, come to that particular sheet and then type in the cell address. This is A82, sheet 2, A82 if I'm correct. And then you can see my answer is 58. All I have to do next is to just format it whichever way I want to do. So I'm going to format it. Format it whichever way I want. Increase the size. Let me give it a white color. Remove the background for the text box also. Then I'm going to just insert another text box and call it total number of respondents. So whichever way you want to look at it, I believe we have actually done something nice today, and definitely you have learned something. So basically, this is how you create your dashboard. But one thing I just remembered now is that this particular dashboard is not yet responsive. What do we mean by a responsive dashboard? A responsive dashboard is a kind of dashboard that you can that responds to your filter. I mean, whatever kind of filter you're using, once you're clicking on the filter, the charts adjust, the values adjust to depict, to fully show the kind of filter you are using. All right, so let's add in a slicer. To make it responsive, we actually need a slicer. So we're going to add a slicer to this. Come to pivot chart, analyze, insert slicer. And let's assume I want to filter this data by age group, right? Or by gender, or by the two. Let me just select the two, and these are my filters. So if I select this, you can see that the chart has adjusted. Let's do this, and you can see the way it's adjusting. But the funny thing is that it's only one chart, one out of the 5 charts on the screen, that is responsive. So how do we sort that? What you're going to do is to right click on your slicer, come to report connections, and then you're going to select all the pivot table you want your slicer to control, right? All the pivot table you want it to control, which in this case is all of them. Sometimes you don't want to control all of them, so you don't select all of them. So now you can see that as I slice through it, all my charts now respond. So I'm going to drag this and put it here. For this, I'm going to do the same thing, report connections, select all the pivot table I have. And I see that now it makes sense. So I do believe that this right here has been very impactful and helpful for you. But before we call it a wrap, I'm just going to quickly go back to the database and submit one form. So if I'm able to submit one form, we are going to refresh this data and see if it's actually connected to the server again. All right, so here we are. I'm going to go ahead and select these. In this case, I'm just going random. So now that I've submitted the form, I think I should have a total of 59 entries right now if I go ahead to refresh my data. If I go ahead to refresh my data, now you can see that I have 59 entries from the server. So you don't need to download it. And I do want to believe that you really learned something from this session. Okay, this is not the best dashboard you can build. Definitely in the class, I'm going to show you how to create much more stylish dashboard than this one. But I do want to believe that you have learned something from today's session. And if you are, go ahead and drop me in the comments exactly what you learned. Just so up next, let me show you how to insert images. So I'm going to go to insert, come to pictures from this device. I'm just going to pick random image, I don't know, and I'm going to, what I did was to double click on it to pull it in. I'm going to resize that and put it there. Go to insert, my text box again, and I'm going to call this sample backend visualization. I make this big. Let's make it a little bit bigger, make it bold, remove the background as usual. So I believe right now we have been able to create a really beautiful dashboard. And I know that this is not yet complete. We could actually have done something way more beautiful, something way more interesting than what we have done in this class. So definitely I'm going to see you on the inside. And if you really learned anything from this tutorial, go ahead and drop me, tell me one thing that you learned so far and if it's really useful for you. Drop it in the comment section. I would really like to hear from you. That being said, I'll see you in class.